Coming off 352's hectic ending, the tension really doesn't let up in 353. Everybody's running away from Hisoka right after he just cut down two people. Now 353 to me marks the true start of the fight between the characters themselves, as everything before this was pretty much an introduction, mostly for Chrollo, as we understand him as this mysterious character with a book that has probably millions of ability, an infinite number pretty much of ability from the reader's perspective. But we can now limit him by showcasing a couple of abilities. After he showed a couple of abilities, we understand as a reader that this is what he will be using, and anything that might be pulled out of nowhere will be more of a deus ex machina feeling. As we understand, if he pulls out an ability out of nowhere, it feels deus ex machina. It feels like the story deceived us, and it doesn't feel like a good story per se. But now that we know what his kit looks like for somebody who has pretty much an infinite amount of ability, we can expect a pretty good story. And Togashi doesn't let down with that. Now, starting off, Hisoka notices that there are no antennas on the two people that he just cut down. He thought that Shalnark's ability was about antennas that were physical to control people. Now he's thinking, were they conjured? As he's looking for Chrollo, but also he's pretty observant as he sees that the crowd is full of people that were doubled. And directly he can conclude that gallery fake is activated. Gallery fake using two hands, he then concludes that convert hands must have been deactivated because Chrollo probably changed clothes and just spread up in the crowd. But right as he's looking at that crowd, the crowd seems to be really agitated, but on the wrong sense, because everybody was running away from him, but he's seeing people coming at him, seemingly really athletic people too, as people seem to be jumping over each other and just going at it full speed. We understand that something is coming, and he understands that something is coming. Something is coming for him. Now, I was pointing out multiple times that the crowd is not just composed of viewers, it's also composed of fighters, because this is Evans Arena. And I really believe that that's going to be playing a huge part. That's why I was mentioning it, and that's why it's going to be important here. Now, everybody's going crazy, and the announcer notices that everybody's attacking Hisoka. Now, first thing he does as he sees the marks on their forehead and knows that this is probably order stamp, he makes the conclusion that the book is opened on gallery fake, then it was a bookmark, then create a crowd, then activate order stamp, then command them to break Hisoka. And he goes, I see. He just straight up pulls out the hand and uses the same point to the ceiling technique and uses that elastic to go way up. As he's going up, he's of course thinking about at this speed he made so money, he might even be making more, and that there must be more puppets that have not even been given commands. Now he activates it, gets up to the ceiling, and just everybody's following him in a beautiful World War Z-esque scene, because that's the only movie I can remember that had something similar with the bridge. I don't even know much about the movie, but in this scene, the puppets truly show how the order that they were given takes out their humanity, because they just run at Hisoka, not minding each other, but in such a robotic way that he achieved that they running on top of each other like zombies, and they just managed to reach him even in the sky, not even in an orderly manner. This was not a planned effort by the puppets. This was pure chaos, pure raw intent to fulfill the orders that made them run on top of each other like it was a stairway to heaven. Well, heaven being Hisoka. Now Hisoka's ready to kick them down, and as he's getting ready to kick them down, kicks and punches and kicks out the ones that are closest to him. He feels a presence. It's Chrollo. He arms up the arm. He tries to block it and gets kicked in the back of the neck. Now he received it. He's thinking about it, and he's thinking about how he changed his position, or how he changed his attack form from there, from that angle, from the punch to the kick. How did that happen? Now he's falling down, but he's just loving it because that was such an impressive display. And we know Hisoka as a character, he just loves these crazy displays of strength and capabilities. Now he fell down, he's laying there, a bit of enjoyment about the moment that just happened, still smiling, but gets up with kicks, beautiful kicks. I can't do justice to the action here. You can just feel the dynamism as he kicks left, right, and goes around. Now getting up, kicks, and you can truly feel that he's getting bombarded with people around him, and he turns around, hits, kicks, cuts, turns around, does a full 360 of cutting and kicking. I don't just want to repeat it, but you have to understand those pieces of actions are just so dynamic. Now he gets grabbed up because he is getting overwhelmed. There are just way too many characters, and you would think that these are just normal people, but obviously you know that they're puppets. They don't stop till you get their heads cut, and Hisoka noticed the same thing. And they are Heaven's Arena viewers, and they just don't stop. And as he's cutting them and getting them away from his face, he feels a presence again in his Chrollo, jumping on a puppet, laying a hand and doing the beautiful kick to the neck again. Now he received the kick. Really, we are only getting Hisoka start, which really isolates us. Just like Hisoka is isolated from Chrollo. Chrollo doesn't appear a lot. He appears right, give this kick or these punches, these key attacks, as Hisoka is occupied with puppets. The kicks and the punches are aimed to put Hisoka back in the crowd whenever he tries to get away from the crowd itself. Also, they are the perfect distraction for Chrollo to sneak in attacks. And he's thinking about how cold-blooded this is. And Hisoka keeps going, punching and kicking, but never truly cutting the heads yet, till we get to one of the puppets that approaches him and he cuts it off. Going for the decapitation of the puppet is actually a big commitment for Hisoka, because we can see that right after he decapitates one of the puppets, he gets grabbed. So it is possible for him to do the decapitation, but while he does it, he gets easily overwhelmed. Just another beautiful aspect and detail to keep in mind in the fight. Right as he cuts it off, this is something that's important to note. Now, we understand that when the puppet gets its head cut off, the ability is deactivated, right? Because we saw an example of it chapter ago. Now, this puppet got its head cut off. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that, but Hisoka gets his head grabbed, which is pretty distracting, and he balances a curse. That was a fuck you in Hunter Hengen. Now he gives kicks and just trying to run away, get out of there. Again, Chrollo sneaks in a kick to the abdomen, and he understands that truly he is trapping him. He's feeling these attacks from Chrollo, and again it moves him. He's almost laying, but gets submerged by puppets, respond to the attacks, but tries to keep an eye on Chrollo. He disappears, he responds to the attack, cuts another head, now tries to escape by laying down a puppet. He has the advantage over the puppets when it comes to physicality, but when it comes to not feeling pain and unrelenting attacks, the puppets have the upper hand and they are not fodder, like I said before. But right as he escapes the onslaught, he feels the presence on top of him. We're still mindful of it because you remember the first head he cut. Well, he uses that head and he shrinks his bungee gum that he attached to that head, pulls it all the way in. Now we might be thinking, wow, Hisoka thought about that. That's crazy. He thought about the head that he cut to use it as an attack. Now I remind you, the same head is being shown to us. On that same head there is still the sign of Order Stamp, and a chapter ago we understand that Order Stamp get deactivated right after the head is cut off. Now Chrollo notices it, he dodges it, and he lets him know, I knew that was coming, and steps the fuck on Hisoka. And Hisoka lets him know he knew that was coming, and there were two heads cut off if you remember correctly, and lets him have it in return. And that would be the end of the chapter. Crazy. This was a fast one. Well, I hope it was a fast one, but it was mostly an exciting one, and that's just all that matters. But mostly, I think this is again the start of it, but with a whole lot of seeds been growing. The seeds have been growing, and we are seeing the true results, the fruits that Chrollo has laid, because from our understanding, order step should be deactivated right after the head is cut off. That has been shown. But the hint is so small that you wouldn't understand that that was a hint. I mean, it was a hint for Hisoka's ability when he cut off the head, that he was gonna attack with the head after. But the true hint is what we'll be seeing in the next chapter. And so for that, thank you for the watch. See you.